I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everybody. We'll just dive right in since it's Monday night and everybody's having a great day. First item on is for public comment. So I guess if we got any public comment for this evening. All right, please step up to the podium and state your name, please.
My name is Gary Jansen. I live at 722 First Avenue Northeast, Hampton. And I have a Saturday night, I had a disturbance about a little over half a block away with loud music. And here's the police report. There's 3 times during the night from I don't know, somewhere around 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. It was loud. It exceeded the whatever you call that on the noise level.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they turned it down, and as soon as the officer left, then they turned it back up again. And it was probably like at about 8:45 they came for the last time. And they came over and he showed me the readings and told me what is allowed. And he took the reading and it was high. It was even kind of a little high even in the house. And so he had, this was Officer Luna, and then he had another one with, I don't know his name. He's a new police officer, but he went over and told him to completely shut it down. And the music was supposed to stop at 9. Well, the officer came back to my place, and then they started playing music again. When Luna told me that if they start it back up after 9 o'clock, I'm going to give them a citation. Well, the music started, it was after 9 o'clock, and I asked him, are you going to give them a citation? And he just kind of shook his head, and I don't know if they got a citation or not. And then on Sunday, yesterday, I kind of went around the neighborhood and visited with some of the neighbors to see what their opinion was on it. And well, the one that lived right across the alley, which was maybe 50 feet away, they have a little infant child. And he said sometimes it was pretty well unbearable. It was enough to shake the windows. And then I went to another one. He was a block away. And he said, well, I don't really, it doesn't bother me. I really don't care. The neighbor across the street too, he said, no, there's nothing I can do or say. I'm going to tell you that both of them said, well, when you live in Little Mexico, the Mexicans have more say than the Americans. And that's what I got from both of them. And they said no matter what we try to do, it never works. They told me that they get away with a lot of things. Just like the one across the street, he says, yeah, I work with 5 of them. None of them speak any English, and none of them have driver's license. I know some. My grandkids, they're Hispanic. I get along with the Mexican. The ones that can speak English, I can't understand them if they can't speak English. But I have friends that are Spanish and they speak English, and I get along real well with them. But the noise was pretty excessive. And I don't know if there's anything that you can do about it. My neighbor, Gary's here. No, my neighbor, landlord, I thought he was going to come up, but he has some complaints too. He thought it was really disrespectful. You know, he said me and him both agreed that, you know, if we was to do that, we would go around to the neighbors and ask them and tell them that we're planning on having a little party over here. I don't know, at one time there was probably 20. And the band was set up and a tin over them, and they all was sitting around there in their chairs drinking beer, and they could have come around and ask the neighbors, well, what, do you think that would be all right? I mean, my wife, she got really upset. And she said, you know, if we would have knew this, we could have just planned something for the evening and not been here. Because it almost like they didn't even take a break. It was just like the constant. Then they had this tuba. And even when the music was soft, when they played the tuba, it just blast. And it was, I don't know, it was really something. But I don't know if there's something you can do. Really to have live music in town at night in a neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a pretty quiet and peaceable neighborhood. And, you know, something like that is really kind of disturbing. And we had no warning that it was going to be like that. And, you know, if somebody wanted to have a band, I think it would be nice enough that they should go around the neighborhood and just ask them and tell them that we're planning on doing this. Maybe there would be some objection to it. I know there would be if somebody came in and said, hey, we're going to have this great rock and roll band here, and the music's going to be kind of loud. And there's probably some that would say, no, I don't think you should do that. It was, you know, it was loud. So that's just my comment that I have, and there's others that didn't think it was very, very wise of them to be doing that. And so, I don't know. You know, 10 o'clock, I know the Lowell Lang and his wife, they go to bed kind of early. And they just live 2 houses down from me. And they're an older couple. And that noise, I don't know if there was anybody down the street, but one of the officers went down the hill and around. I didn't know if there was somebody else that was complaining down there or not, but I know. Well, for one thing, Lowell has hearing aids, and so he can probably just shut them off. But I don't know about his wife. But I don't know. It seems to me like 10 o'clock is pretty late. I mean, even my wife, she sometimes goes to bed at 9:30. And but when you have that blasting like that, I mean, it was so loud in the house, we couldn't even. We'd have to turn our radio up, probably over, I don't know, 6 or 7 decibels in order to be able to hear the radio over the sound of the music. And so it's just a concern for us. I mean, I'd like to see if there was be something that could be done about it. But I'm not here. You know, I mean, I had a neighbor. I'm sure most of you know Casey Fink. He lived next door to me, and he has problems. And he would crank his music up on his stereo quite a bit. And I had to call about 3 different times for him to come and tell him to turn his music down. Thing is, when they came to Casey's, I mean, they were fast, and they were, you know, turn it down. That's all, I mean, so I don't know if he ever got a citation for the loud music or not, but probably not, but it just seems like that some of this stuff doesn't have to be tolerated by the
Right.
people,
I think,
people in Hampton.
yeah, but I definitely appreciate you coming, bringing that to our attention. And I don't want to put Chief Morrison on the spot. Is that something that you could look into with him, for him, and possibly get some follow-up or something? See where we're at, you know, because it's nuisance related, so
Yeah.
I just want to, you know, if we can, you know, maybe Mark can look into see what transpired and this and that, and can't promise you anything, but we'll do what we can to try to. Yep. Mr. Palmer.
I had two messages Saturday night about it. I said, call the police. And I don't think one person wanted to, and the other person said, okay. So I don't know where they resolved it. What time do they quit?
Well, they were told to shut down at 9. They would have went to the full 10.
So
10
they
o'clock.
shut down at 9.
Yeah, the officer shut it down at 9.
Okay, all right.
Do you want this report back?
No, I know what transpired there, so I looked the report over, and it was just about what I explained to him.
Okay. Well, let's see if Mr. Chief Morrison can look into that a little bit and kind of see where we ended up, and at least, you know, get back with you so that we know that something happened, and try to close the loop. Yeah, we have a noise ordinance for a reason, and that'd be the reason. So.
Well, yeah, I just like, if you're going down if you go down the street and your windows are down and you have your stereo turned way up, you can get cited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the same thing should go with somebody that's going to have a big, loud music concert, especially in a language that you're not familiar with, because it sounds like a bunch of gibberish to me, because I don't know any Spanish.
Right.
And so, and they're the only Hispanic people. Well, we have another one down another block or so, but we have a few there. But one's just a woman with some children, and they're quiet and don't make no noise. So
It's a matter of the loudness, not of the race of the people playing the music.
Oh, yeah.
If it would have been white people playing
Oh, yeah.
profanities,
I would have done the same thing to
yeah,
them, because
it's
the music. It's not. It's not the people.
It's the music issue. It's not
It's
anything
the
else.
noise.
Correct.
I mean, I get along. I mean, I don't really know them, but I don't have anything against them. But the noise was tremendous.
Okay. Let's look into it a little bit, and then we'll definitely get back with you on that.
Okay, thank you.
That work?
Thanks, Gary.
Fine.
Thank you. Any other public comment this evening? Nope. Hearing none, we'll move on. We have a nuisance update. Mr. Tar.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see here. We're out for quotes for asbestos testing of 121 First Avenue Northeast. July 31st will be the deadline for that. Once we get a report back and see what that's going to entail for that property, then we will seek quotes for the abatement if necessary. We received the lien searches back for 321 Federal Street South and 416 First Street Southwest, which is our first step when seeking 657A actions, and that's going forward pretty quick, so that's good. 207 7th Street Southwest is in the progress of basically an extreme makeover, so I encourage any of you to drive by, observe kind of what's going on there. That transformation's looking great. This was due to a tax sale, and then I think it switched hands even after that to an actual investor. We're trying to establish a relationship with that new investor. They're actually, I believe, from the Webster City area. The contractor's phenomenal phenomenal to work with from my standpoint, so trying to get them interested in some other properties.
Where was that again, Doug?
207 7th Street Southwest. It's a property that we've been struggling with for quite a few years. 508 3rd Street Southeast was condemned recently until repairs can be made. The ownership of the property is tied to an estate that is very complicated. If you have some specific questions about that, maybe we can have a discussion one-on-one at some point. And then there was also some nuisances going on at that property and some other things that between the police department and myself, we've been kind of working on that one a little bit. We're up to about 112 grass and weeds properties, unfortunately, that we're checking every week. There have been some municipal infractions written, so I'll be in court a little bit next few Thursdays. I think I have 2 cases this week and 1 case next Thursday, and then August is looking like there might be a couple. We've had some continuances with our city attorney, so I'll fill you in on those once they happen and once things get done. A lot of other things going on, but I'll entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mr. Tar? Don't see any. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chief Morrison, anything to add?
Yeah, we just had 7 new nuisance notices went out this week. 2 new municipals went out, and then we have 2 court cases currently awaiting. We're waiting an order on one, and we have a upcoming court case on the other. And then as far as I see the update on 500 Block 1st Street Southeast is on here. We did issue an order to get it everything in the right-of-way removed. That was taken care of. And then Doug and I met with all the property owners down there, and then he'll kind of give you an update on what they've done down there as far as that property.
Right, so basically, city staff has gone down there. We'd had a survey done to find out for sure where everything's at. So part of that allowed us to send city staff down there a little bit. There was some grass that was growing out into the travel portion of the road that's been removed. We've identified some things as far as where the lines are actually, the right-of-way is different than the property or the street line. So basically, the property line is that right-of-way line where we figured out where those property lines were. I have some RFPs out to do like a seal coat to maybe help identify that road even more. And then I think city staff also tried to paint a line to at least let the property owners know where that line was as far as the right-of-way where that's at. One of the things I would like for you guys to consider, though, in the near future, and maybe we talk about it at a future workshop, is I personally believe there's a need for no parking on both sides of that road. But that's my personal opinion. It's up to you guys what you think. So if you guys would give that some consideration, drive down there, give me some thoughts. I would like to see that. I'd like to see it, number one, for safety and security reasons, since there's one house at the very dead end of this thing. And I would hate for emergency responders or something not to be able to get down there because things parked in the way. That's my thought on that. It's all for safety. But you guys tell me what you guys think, and I can start working on anything that you guys would want to discuss here at a future workshop about that.
Okay.
How was the meeting? Was it civil?
2 yes, 1 no.
Oh, okay.
But feel free to see me, and
All right,
we can
yeah.
talk about
No
how that
problem.
went. It was entertaining for a moment.
Okay.
All right. Good. I'd like to see that moving forward, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see what the prices are, and I'll bring that back to a future workshop. That way we can, that seal coat would definitely identify things a little bit more,
Right.
without going to the full-blown curb and gutter,
Yeah.
or until such a time that we decide to maybe do something like that someday.
Perfect. Well, we'll definitely get on another workshop, so
Okay.
keep moving forward with that.
Otherwise, if there's questions.
Any other questions for either Chief Morrison or Mr. Dunt, or Tar, sorry. Thank you. So moving on, we'll go talk to the, talk about the updated skate park fence cost estimate. Do you have that, Mr. Dunt?
Yeah, so at the last workshop or council meeting, you guys leaned towards doing the two-tone fence and then also adding on a edge to kind of designate the ends and to kind of keep people inside the boundaries of the skate park. And so the updated price is $8,376.63. The linear foot goes from 96 feet to 112 feet. And so just putting that in front of you, and if for discussion, and if you want, we can put a motion on Thursday's council agenda to keep that moving forward, or whatever you decide.
What was the updated price again? 8,000, what was that?
$8,376.63.
When we started this discussion, I suggested putting a chain link on some of the other sides. Is there any figures for that?
No, I don't think so.
And Jim suggested getting rid of the rock. Is that rock still gonna stay there?
Let Doug talk about that.
My apologies, I wasn't at the last meeting to hear any of the advice. One thing I can tell you about the rock, though, is we've had our 4-foot roller that we've taken up there, and we're really trying to get a good hard pack to where that's not going to be a problem with rock going up on the skating surface. Where we thought the rock came in handy was low maintenance. The chain link fence, I understand your thought process a little bit on that. I haven't looked into that option. We can. I don't have a problem doing that, other than I know from some of the seminars, different things I've been to, where chain link has been kind of thought of as being institutionalized in appearance. So some places aren't doing that as much as they used to, but we can sure look at it if you'd like. I have no problem looking at anything. So if someone has some questions that they want me to look into, I can do that.
Well, they make some sort of a adhesive for mulch and stuff.
Yep.
I wondered if you could spray that on there also.
Yeah, we can sure look into it. I'll write that down.
One of my other questions was why staff couldn't do it. And I guess I put a fence around my property 5 years ago, and I'm
Right.
not a carpenter.
Yeah, staff has, that just, when we take staff away from all the other stuff, then it's all the other stuff
Why
they won't get
couldn't
to.
we get a price for the fence and then the labor, separate it out,
Okay,
or get another bid?
sure.
I mean,
We can do a lot.
let's think about the taxpayers.
Yep.
It's crazy just to have one bid. I like the fence, but what's it gonna be like if a guy like my size runs into the side of it? Is it gonna fall, part of it gonna fall down or break, or?
I don't know.
How
I think I
sturdy
gave-
is it?
Yeah, I gave you the warranty information. You should have the warranty information as well, or no?
Yeah.
How sturdy is it?
I couldn't tell you, probably no different than any other 6-foot privacy fence. I don't know.
I
know
think,
they would-
if looking at a lot that aligned, I think that's part of why we would want to have the fence company install it, so it's installed correctly, not saying our guys can't do it correctly, but that way they're going to stand behind it the way it's installed.
Another thing you could ask is if, like the mayor says, if we install it and they don't, does that impact the warranty?
Sure.
I just think it's going to be good to show boundaries. The last thing I want to see is skateboarders drifting north into that guy's garage, or
Right.
using his driveway as a skate park, or trash all over. And I'm glad that
Yeah, I've had some people that have brought up the concerns as, we have a house next to a park. Why would you do that? Well, every single park we own is next to houses in residential areas typically.
The
But yes, this is a
The
little
main thing
closer.
is the bike path is right there.
Right. Yep. Yep, that's a big benefit.
Perfect visibility.
Are we gonna post signs for closing times or?
Yeah, Chief Morris and I discussed that today, actually. So, yeah, we can get some signage up there for that as well. And I wasn't intending on putting any lighting there. One of the things to keep in mind, too, is when we built the skate park before, when it was brand new, it really got used for, quite a few months, but it did wear off a little bit. And then I think during the school year, you'll see it subside just a little bit. It's a great amenity, don't get me wrong, and I hope a lot of kids do get some use out of it. But it was one of those things where, you guys decided we're going to probably get more use out of the soccer pitch, and that was donated, and that was great. So we're just
People are still
awesome.
using
Now
that.
we got both amenities, but it really wasn't that heavily used as time went on a little bit down there. So, I foresee the same thing possibly happening there.
Doug, these corners, are they 6 feet corners? Sections, or what is it going to
I
be?
believe they are. I believe they were like 6-foot sections, I think.
That's just-
I'd have to look into it. I don't know if it's 6 or 8, but I'd have to look, Bill.
It sounds like quite a change in the cost estimate. It's like $1,500 for another 12 feet of fence.
Right, I think it was because of the curved panel would be my guess, but we can check with other companies. River City is just one of those companies that's been really good for us. If something goes wrong, they're just up in Mason City, and they're here on other stuff once in a blue moon too, but I have no problem getting some other cost estimates and really,
Yeah.
getting after it. As far as staff though, I have no doubt that staff could do it. That's not a problem. The only thing is we're not professional at it, and there's always liability or some other different thoughts, but we do sidewalks and streets, we do a lot of different things, so that's probably a moot point. But it's just timing of getting everything done, and we're sitting shorthanded still a little bit, so we're working on it. We're trying to get someone in the door.
I think, unless my math's off, I think the original estimate of 96 feet to 112 would be 8 feet sections coming off on that side, so. And I think the only question I had for anybody that's interested in chain link, what's your reasoning for why would we want chain link all the way around?
Well, we'd
it?
have the plastic, but extend it out to the corners with chain link, put tile on it like any of the baseball diamonds. And then, like Pat says, it
Contained.
defines the area where you're supposed to be.
Okay, because I don't think we'd want to put it all the way across, or all around, because.
I'm not saying 6 foot
Yeah.
high either.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah,
like to say
go ahead.
something. I don't want to keep pushing this off and pushing it off and
Right.
pushing it off. These people have been very gracious to settle with the fence. I want to get it done. This is a busy time for our city employees. We got street department repairs and things like that going on. I would rather see the fence company put it up. I would rather, if you want to break down the pricing, that's fine, but we're going to go into another month and another month and another month. It needs to be done this year.
Yeah. I agree. I think we need to move and we need to get it done. I don't know,
Well,
whatever.
we had an issue last year with a pickleball net. We didn't have the money in the budget for that, so we put that off. This is no different. If it's continues another month,
But we do have a pickleball net.
right.
We do have it.
It wasn't immediately.
No, and I just, again, I'm thinking of the neighbors. Neighbors next to the park. How frustrating it would be if we keep delaying this month after month. I mean,
Yeah.
next month is August already. Summer is going to be over soon.
Yeah.
I just rather keep moving forward.
Yeah. My thoughts on that would be that I agree, we need to move on the fence. That was the main thing. We need to get the privacy fence up, get them corners on. We've got the new estimate for that. I would like to see the fence company do that. I think, Doug, you mentioned we're limited on how many fence companies we got too. So how far we're going to go to get another estimate on that. and what's that gonna add to our price? We can always look at the chain link later on.
Well-
I'm not a fan of it because it just kind of,
I asked about
This is your
getting
part.
other bids 3 weeks ago. And how many people sitting here heard that? Or was it through one ear out the other?
well, Doug wasn't with here at the meeting, so we had.
We got YouTube meetings, don't we?
We had to relay that to him, so. Mr. Davies.
Well, in my opinion, I don't think we need other bids. I think the company we've worked with, and they've done good for us. I think we need to move ahead with this now and not get other bids. And once we put this fence in, I don't think we need a chain link fence. I think the asphalt itself outlines what the skate area is, and the idea of the fence is to put a little barrier between the residential area. So I'd like to see us move ahead with this fence, and as soon as possible,
Yeah, me too.
my opinion.
I'm just more worried about the neighbors north, that kids are gonna be drifting into their yard and
Yep.
there'll be a Doritos bag or,
Yep.
you know, pop cans or whatever, just, you know, I don't wanna have that issue with that. I get a garbage can up there and a sign that says park closes at whatever and just get it done. And get their bench put up.
I've had several, what do I want to say? I've heard positive remarks about it already. The kids using it. There's kids that have come from out of town that are using it, and their parents love it. I mean, they have a relation here, but so I think we want to. Let's get it done. Let's make it pretty and let's make it nice and let's keep moving. keep
Garbage,
moving on. Let's
garbage
get
can was
fenced.
put up there today.
Good.
So we did get a garbage
Perfect.
can up there today, and we'd like to look at doing a porta potty there at some point.
Okay.
Doug, am I mistaken? Am I remembering something about a cost savings on the asphalt that you laid out there?
Yeah, I think.
How much
there-
did that amount to?
Right, I can't remember from the original quote, but there was some savings because we didn't have to core out the entire amount of rock, because once they peeled that sod off, we found that it was great sub-base underneath it. We didn't have to install a whole heck of a lot
And
of
when you
sub-base.
say savings, you're saying savings on the original, but that you had
Yeah,
budgeted
just
for this
on the-
project?
Just on the original
So-
quote that Heartland gave us.
But you have no idea how much that was?
I
roughly?
got to come up with it. Jim asked that question last time, and I need to get to it, so I just need to find that original.
I was just going to make a comment on the rock. I went up there the other day, and I could tell that it was rolled, and there wasn't any, like, little stone rocks that were on there, so I think that's probably will work, or
Yep.
look like it's been working.
It'd be real easy for us to use our own sprayer to spray that rock to keep the weeds down and stuff, and then we wouldn't be mowing, but we're still gonna have to mow on the outside of that fence and then around it, of course, but where we do have grass, but that was trying to keep it maintenance friendly.
So I guess what I'm hearing is the majority, or several people want to move forward with this.
Sorry.
So basically, we just need a consensus tonight. Do we want to put it on Thursday to vote on this and get that done?
Yeah.
I mean, Kristen, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. And Jerry, you're okay, and Pat? Mr. Davies, or Mr. Lamos, sorry.
I'm fine with it, but normally when you get a job done, you get more than one bidder.
Right. I understand that. Mr. Holmstrom, are you good with that?
Yeah, I think it's good to get it on the meeting on Thursday.
Mr. Davies?
Mhm.
Okay. So we'll put it on for Thursday, and we'll move forward with this piece of it. And if anything more, we'll just keep working on it.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you. Next item, a discussion of resolution of public purpose options. Mr. Dont.
Thank you. So a resolution of public purpose is basically a resolution that the council states as a matter of policy for expenditures that relate to the purpose to which City of Hampton exists, and the spending of money on certain things and activities that promote, for instance, employee morale, the purchase of meals of certain persons engaged in city business, and things like that. So in order for the city to spend money on recognition items for employees, for milestones, years of service, things like that, plaque or whatever it might be. In order for the city to spend funds on those, that we have to have a resolution of public purpose on file. And so we don't give employee recognitions and things like that, and it's mainly because we don't have a resolution. Also, if you want to provide meals or water bottles or coffee or things like that for particular meetings, like if there's a noon meeting of something city-related, or if an elected official's spouse passes away, or the elected official or staff passes away, if the city wants to buy flowers or things like that, then this needs to be in place in order to spend public funds for that. This particular draft is just one that was considered years ago. I changed the date at the top. This is not, I'm not saying I'm recommending this one. I just, this is a quick way to get it in front of you to take a look at it and talk and say, you know, I don't like this section, I don't like that one, I do like this section, and have a discussion so we can either gain a consensus of, yeah, we do need a public, a resolution of public purpose for the city, or no, we don't, and if we do want one, what do we want to include in it? So there's a number of items in here that we could include in it. Basically, the details start down at the bottom of page 1 under A. City employee recognition awards for superior performance, years of service, or upon retirement as determined by the city manager. B, the city supports recognition plaques, keys to the city, food, refreshments, non-alcoholic, in recognition of retirement for employees, volunteers, community members, and elected officials. C, public expenditures for city logo, attire for staff and elected officials as approved by the mayor. D, flowers and plants. The city may send flowers or plants to the employees or family members of employees or elected or appointed officials who are suffering from a serious illness, hospitalized, or who have experienced death in their immediate family. Definition of immediate families in the employee handbook. It sets a maximum city expenditure for said gifts not to exceed $50 per gift for illness, $50 per gift for death. E, sustenance supplies. City manager may approve the purchase of sustenance supplies for the city's use. May include, not limited to, the item coffee pot, coffee, tea, water, soda, coffee creamer, coffee filters, sweetener, paper products, including plates, cups, utensils, paper towels, napkins, or any other products deemed necessary by the city manager, fall under the term sustenance. And then F, city council recognizes that situations in which city business needs to be discussed can and do occur during meal hours. For instance, a luncheon meeting. In addition, there are public and employee meetings and events in which reasonable refreshments may be necessary to create a more productive environment and to be responsive to participants' time schedules. The following items are deemed to meet the council definition of public purpose expenditures in regard to food and meals. 1, meals and refreshments are allowed at city meetings and events that have a purpose of discussing city issues. 2, meals and refreshments are allowed when they are a part of a breakfast, lunch, dinner meeting for official city business when it is the most reasonable time to meet. Usually these meals involve meeting with city council members or committee or commission members deemed to meet the public purpose guidelines for a community or customer outreach and marketing of the city. The food items are pretty rare instances. It's not like we would propose to have food or drinks at council meetings or council workshops. Sorry, Jerry. But I would give you an example.
No alcohol, so I was like.
Yeah, an example of this was we had the housing steering committee set up with, you know, some 15 people. We met a few times in city council chambers. The last time we met over the lunch hour, and then we also met in the morning one day, and so myself and I think maybe Kelsey and Becky kicked in some money and bought cookies and bottles of water. So we're paying for things out of our own pocket, which is, I mean, that's fine, but that's just, we're not going to spend city money on it unless we have one of these. So that's an example of a meeting where you might buy a snack or something. The item where it talks about attire, logo attire for staff and elected officials. Those of you that have attended the League of Cities Conference and other meetings or conferences, you see other cities, elected officials or staff wearing shirts with their city logo on them, like Steve has one, for instance. He paid for that out of his own pocket. I have some that I have, and I paid for them out of my own pocket just because we don't have this. And so, anyway, this would allow, if the city wishes to purchase a shirt or something for council members or staff. So anyway, that explains that. So I would open it up for discussions. What don't you like? What do you like?
I think the last two items on here, 1 and 2, are you gonna set a dollar amount on that? Because $50 isn't very much. Like if you had staff in here for a safety meeting on some morning and you wanted to buy breakfast pizza or something, you couldn't get very much for that. And my other feelings are, we should have done this 50 years ago.
Yes,
Correct.
absolutely.
Because we had a lot of
Yeah.
old retirees that had been here forever, and
Yeah.
they didn't really get acknowledged. So I'm glad you brought this up.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
I had a question.
I'm glad you,
Mr. Dees, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just looking at like the dollar amount, I mean, I agree with everything Barry said, like flowers and plants, like if we put $50 in there, really $50 doesn't buy a whole lot.
Right.
But I mean,
Yeah.
then would you have to pass another resolution if, like, okay, in 3 years, prices? So is there a way to not necessarily put a price in, but still, put in provisions that you don't overdo it, so to speak?
Yeah, we don't have to stick to 50. You can set that at whatever you want. You could set it at the discretion of the mayor.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, what I was thinking, just because the way prices go up and,
Yeah.
and turn around, pass another
Exactly.
resolution every year just because it keep up with the cost of living
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Holmstrom, do you have something?
I'm glad that this was brought up. I had asked Ron to investigate this about a month ago, and Ron said we've tried this once before. But my original intent was the retention of the employees and the recognition of the employees. I know that we've talked about salaries, and we talked about different ways for retention. We just went through that here about a month ago. And I also talked to Doug, and we lost a very good employee, and he had mentioned that one of the reasons perhaps was that he didn't feel he was getting appreciated by the community at large, and I'm wondering if that also was a kind way of saying he didn't feel like he was appreciated by the city. So I think this recognition program is very important. And I know when I talked to Ron, he had said that this was kind of what was the word you used, not a mishmash of other communities' similar resolutions, kind of a hybrid, Ron said. And I think we need to look at it for Hampton. A lot of times we say, well, let's compare other cities. I don't think we should always do that. I think we should focus on what Hampton needs right now. And I think we need the recognition, but I'm wondering if maybe we're putting too much in here. I asked Ron why this failed once before, and he said because it got too involved and people were talking about, okay, maybe we should include tips for when we buy the food and how much we're going to pay, 18%, and like Jim was just saying maybe $50 isn't enough, and I don't know if that is true or not, but I know flowers for funerals are expensive. But I think we need to stick with the basics right now, and I think the basics are the retention of our employees. And as far as that goes, that would include the first, almost the entire front page, the first page, and down to Section D, flowers and plants, and that should be included also. But I think once we get into the substance supplies and the meals and refreshments for meetings, I think you could go down a rabbit hole. I think we need to start with the basics, and I think our basic focus should be retention of employees, and I think the employees need that, need the fact that their efforts are recognized, whether it's a plaque or whether it's a retirement cake or coffee. But I think we need to stick with the employees. That's where our focus should be, I think, right now. I think we need to kind of focus on just Hampton. Forget about what the other communities have. That to me means nothing. We need to focus on Hampton right now, and I think Hampton needs to retain its employees. I know when we cross-train them, the city employees, and I went with Doug to all of these different work sites, and I know if Doug loses an employee, it's a big hurt to the city to get them replaced. He put a lot of work and effort into keeping that employee. We need to do what we can to help Doug keep these employees. And I think our city manager could identify what type of certificates and when they should come out and how they are earned and this type of thing. But I guess that's why I asked Ron to look into this. So.
Yeah, I think, I know Ron, you and I had talked about this some time ago, and that's exactly what it is you get into that, what about this, what about this, what about this, you know, and it really just didn't go anywhere. But I agree with Bill, the sustenances, I can't hardly say that, but anyway, the supplies, you know, that's being paid today somewhere, right? I mean, so.
City Hall
Probably
of sorts.
Yeah, so I don't know if that part probably needs to be in there. And then, again, the meals, you know, there's going to be places possibly where we would use that. Probably few and far between, but maybe have something in there for it. But yeah, I think we can pare this down a little bit, and I think we did too. It would hurt to, or it would not hurt to have it in place going forward.
I guess I see the recognition as a double-edged sword. Like Barry said, this should have been done 50 years ago.
Yep.
Because for an employee to quit because they didn't get enough recognition, I'd put their record up against Brian Tapp, Randy Griefey, Morgan, all those guys that plowed snow,
Marlene Tapp.
and Marlene, of course. I don't want to. Yeah.
All of them.
And that employee recognition works two ways. You plow somebody's street, they're happy, but block their driveway one time, and you are on a list.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the last time we actually recognized an employee for retiring was Bob Schaefer, only because he came to a meeting. We were never told that Marlene was going to retire, or I'm picking on Marlene. Marlene was going to retire, and her last day is going to be this day. Well, how come she wasn't even invited to a council meeting to say, thank you, Marlene? That's the trouble I have with recognition of years of service, because it's no way retroactive to people who served this community for a long, long time. And, you know, I always considered it a benefit when I didn't get fired on a Friday. That was my benefit. Hey, you get to work next week. Especially if I had to collect IPERs, God forbid, or got a nice paycheck that was union negotiated. I support a lot of that stuff, but man, it's just to me, it's a slap in the face to the people who really worked a long time for the city, and that's just my opinion.
I'd like to say, if we should have started this 50 years ago, maybe it's time to start now. You can't, you know, I'm sorry we can't go retroactive, but let's start
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Let's fix it. Let's
Yep.
start now.
Yep.
And as far as number F in the list here, having snacks at meetings or whatever, that is nice for visitors. It is hospitality. It is welcoming. We're not talking 7-course meals. We're just, hey, coming in for a morning meeting, we'll sit down and have some coffee and a donut and talk it over. But
Yeah,
I mean, that's just hospitality.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to see Ron or anybody else pay for that. That's something the city
Yeah.
should cover.
Right.
I think the whole document's fine. Just pass it like that.
I think it should, not be the council's discretion, but Ron and the mayor.
Yeah, definitely.
And that would take care of a lot of loopholes and things would get done faster.
I think I just want to add one more item. I just want to, I know we just had a employee leave. I don't think we want to assume that they left because they weren't appreciated unless we ask that. If we need to recognize their employee, let's put it together and let's go move forward. But I don't know that we want to throw stones at anybody about this last employee. So yeah, I say we need to move forward with it. And we just need to determine if there's any pieces in here that you don't need, like the sustenances, or not.
Well, I do think you should add wine in there somewhere.
How do you spell that?
WHINE. I think the whole document's good and just pass it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Any other thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm fine with it. I mean, like Ron had said, I mean, you take a look at what's out there, and this is
Yeah.
a beginning. You know, we can make any changes to it, and
Yep.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would look at is the not to exceed, the $50. Let's get to a number that's going to work for a while for us instead of having to change it again in the near future, so.
I think, as you said before, rather than put the dollar amount in there at the
Use the
city manager or
discretion.
mayor's discretion, yeah.
Yep.
That'd be the only thing I think I would recommend.
Yep. So it sounds like we're all on board with that. So we'll just get this put together and move forward. The word of the night, move forward. Any other discussion on that? We're good with that, Ron?
Sure.
We got-
Yep.
Okay. Next item, we discuss proposed residency requires for the amendment for the employee handbook. Mr. Dunt.
Thank you. Our current residency requirement states that the city manager, police chief, public works director shall be required to live in the city limits of Hampton within 6 months of hire unless otherwise specified in a contract or employment agreement. And then certain public works employees of city shall live no further than 10 miles from the city limits within 6 months of hire. Police officers shall live no further than 30 miles from the city limits within 6 months of hire. I'm proposing that we add the following sentence: that the city manager is authorized to make exceptions to these residency requirements based on individual circumstances and personnel needs. I think it's in the best interest of the city if the city manager has some flexibility and some discretion when considering candidates to be hired. If we've got a 10-mile radius that they have to live within, and they have someone who's 15 miles or 20 miles away, in the grand scheme of things, based on our needs and that particular candidate's characteristics and skills, it may outweigh the need to have them live within 10 miles. So I think that I'm recommending that you allow the city manager to have the discretion.
Any
The only thing
comments on
that concerns me is snowstorms,
And so that, you have to explain to the potential employee that in those cases, they need to make themselves available prior to the storm hitting. And so, I mean, that's something that has to be explained and understood and agreed to.
I think this kind of thing is going on all over because people that are qualified won't work here if they don't want to live where they want to live.
Right. Right. I think going back to October of 22, when we expanded it for the police department, we had a situation where we had a hire, and they were outside the limit, so we fixed that. But I think that, hiring in general is getting harder for some of these people and for some of these positions. And I think even the city manager should have the authorization to make that call. So we get good people in here.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
And many times, if you're talking about a spouse and if they're working in a community, a different direction, then it would be really difficult. You'd probably lose that as a person, as an employee. I mean, I think it's fine that we make this change.
All right. Anybody agree with that?
And back in the day, the history of this was, well, we want our city employees paying taxes in Hampton. That was the original crux of all this.
Right.
But, if they had a 15-mile limit where my wife works, she wouldn't be able to work there. So, I mean, number one is they get the job done.
Yep.
And that's all we're looking for, is getting the job done.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have to give them a recognition plaque or something.
Something. It all goes hand in hand. Don't think it doesn't. Kristen, are you good with that verbiage? Mr. Lamos and Mr. Holmstrom? You good?
I am good with it. The only issue I see, I'm just wondering in the back of my mind is why the original intent for these mileages. And I know Pat said it was taxes, and I don't agree with that, but the availability issue, and Ron said he would make sure in the interview process that they knew that they were to make themselves available prior to the emergency, which is the way the weather reports come. That's going to be an almost impossible task. Every time the weatherman says, is it going to have a blizzard, are you going to be available? And then the blizzard never comes because the weatherman's right so rarely. And I know the predicament you're in as far as the selection of the candidates also in today's environment that we're in. I'm just wondering how you're going to hold them to that availability function.
Yeah, it's not perfect,
Right.
and weather forecasting isn't perfect, and, I'm not claiming that we're going to have everything work out perfectly. I think we do our best with what information we have, and yes.
Well, I was just going to say, you plan ahead. My sister works up in Walmart in Mason City. If the forecast is bad, she'll take an overnight bag, and she has a friend that she stays with. You make arrangements to stay overnight. And I think you'd be able to, like the hospitals too, if they have people coming in, they have a place at the hospital, then they can stay. I mean, again, you just plan ahead, like I guess everybody does, or should.
Should.
I did that for my 23 years working in Des Moines at the Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
Down
Prepare for the
night
worst,
before. Yeah.
hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that's a perfect way to put it. It's not a perfect scenario, but if we can get a good employee that lives 30 miles away, we don't want to lose that possibility over the mileage. So it sounds like everybody's kind of in agreement, and we'll go ahead and draw that up. Okay. Second to last thing on the agenda is update on 4 and 6 First Street Northwest, which is the pharmacy building. Mr. Nutt?
Okay, so the company that that put together the plans and specs and the bid documents for the asbestos abatement has sent out the asbestos abatement bid letting information. On Friday, they had a visit, an on-site inspection visit for potential bidders. And Terracon required that anybody that wants to bid on this project had to show up at that property inspection so they know what they're getting into and there could be no claims later. They didn't have an idea what they were getting into. So I think they had 5 show up for the inspection on Friday. And I think the bids are due at the end of July, so we'll be receiving bids. Now, one of the issues is that there's so much junk in the buildings, in the basement and on the main floor particularly, that if we don't get that removed and landfilled, then it's going to drive up the cost of the asbestos abatement process, because if there's any doubt that some of it might have some asbestos dust or material on it, then they're gonna have to go to the steps of cleaning it. Now, there's a lot of stuff in there that is not asbestos related, but is in the way of their movements throughout the building. And so ISG, our consultant, general consultant, has suggested that we consider having a contractor go in and just clean out much of the debris that we can, to avoid having a negative impact on our bids for the asbestos abatement. So we're in the process of getting a quote to do that. And so I'm just letting you know, depending on, between now and Thursday, you might see something on the agenda for approval of that expenditure. I don't know if we'll get it that soon or not, but trying to alleviate having the bids for asbestos abatement be unusually inflated. Yes,
Is everything still in there from day one?
yes.
There's a lot
Yes.
in there.
And-
Ugh.
But how do you know that's not infected with asbestos?
Well, because the ISG and Terracon both know of what was reported as hot, what areas are hot,
okay.
and they know what areas we can remove this stuff
Okay,
out of.
right.
Yeah, there's certain areas where we can't,
Sure,
and that will be restricted. Yeah. So just, that's kind of an update on that.
I figured-
After the,
I figured when you said that, they had a time where people were gonna come in, I had a hunch you were gonna say nobody showed up.
no.
That's what I thought.
I was waiting on it.
Yeah. These are not run-of-the-mill asbestos abatement. These people don't just do little homes. I mean, they're usually doing big commercial schools, big projects. I mean, they probably will do a home, but, and then once we get through the bid letting, I anticipate that the actual asbestos abatement will take place in the month of September, and they are estimating it'll take about 30 days for that process, so. Any questions?
I've got a question about the residency.
Okay.
How many employees live outside the city limits right now?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Has there ever been a issue with them not getting to work?
No, I mean, maybe rarely,
So,
but it's not a,
is there an option for them if they miss a half a day, they could use vacation or something like that?
yeah, I mean, we're flexible. We work with people. We try to be accommodating if there's certain circumstances, yeah.
But there's not really an issue with anybody getting to work.
Well, I think that, I don't think that it's a problematic issue. I think that it might come up now and then, but it's not where you have someone abusing it, no.
Thank you.
I mean, the last 3 winters haven't been anything for snow, so.
All right. Well, appreciate the update. That's good, knows that project is moving along and it's not sitting there.
Yeah.
Because that's all people see is the building
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for the update.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that's happening, so.
All right. All right, only thing left, we're going to adjourn, so we'll adjourn this workshop. Thank you.